So here we are at the end of 2024, and Netflix is more than making up for the weak month they had in November with a hell of a December lineup.
Have some respect, that's your mother.
That's right, I'm looking at a long list here of movies, specials, new releases, new seasons, and some shows that are returning, including the long-awaited return of Squid Game for Season 2. Thanks to Oslo Sleep for sponsoring this video, but first we're going to start with some of the movies they add on December 1st. These are mostly going to be movies you're familiar with, movies like Transformers. The first one, still far and away one of the best. But they're also going to be adding Faster, a movie starring The Rock that went, I think, criminally underrated. It's an R-rated crime movie, something he doesn't do that much anymore, and it's got kind of an interesting edge to it. It's a little bit fun, a little bit edgy for a movie starring The Rock. It's got Billy Bob Thornton in it as well. Not an award-winning film by any stretch of the imagination, but still an interesting hidden gem. They're also going to be adding Zero Dark 30, an unpleasant movie, sure, but a really well-done movie as well. For some comedy, though, they're going to be adding Project X, a movie about a house party that gets incredibly out of control, and We're the Millers, a movie that I think is just incredibly funny. We don't get very funny movies like this much anymore, and everyone in this movie is really great. Jason Sudeikis just leads it off. It's got a bunch of great scenes in it, like this one.
Given me. Is it because my life in 10 shades of grey? I pray I'll 10 fade away, seldom praising for the sunny day.
They're also going to be adding the family classic Daddy Daycare, a great one to watch with the family, and the Happy Time Murders, one to definitely not watch with the family. This is actually created by Jim Henson's son. It's loaded with just classic puppetry and debauchery. I'm not necessarily recommending this movie, but if you find the idea of puppets getting up to some raunchy business funny, then there's enough to laugh at in this movie. And then for some other big budget movies that I didn't really care for, but at least wanted to mention, they're adding Midway, a World War II action movie. This one just featured way too much green screen and CGI. It kind of took me out of the movie. It's not a terrible movie, but it's kind of like Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor. It's just kind of a mess of an action movie instead of a respectful World War II movie. They're also adding The Dark Tower, one that had a lot of promise and just, I think, didn't deliver on any of that promise. And then Run All Night is a Liam Neeson action movie that's actually pretty decent. This one actually plays out kind of like an old school thriller. It doesn't really lean too hard onto the old man kicking everybody's ass theme. Meaning, out of the plethora of movies like this he's done late in his career, this one actually stands out as a decent one. Now that's it for my recommendations of everything they're adding on December 1st. They're adding even more than that, but those are the ones that I think are worth looking at. On the 2nd, though, they're adding one I've not seen yet titled Kneecap. This is actually about an Irish rap group. Michael Fassbender actually has a role in this, and their music actually supposedly keeps like this traditional language alive. Sounds interesting and looks like a funny watch.
Why don't you just speak the Queen's English? Oh, come on, let's go. Kan you see the fucking cranial doctor trainer again?
Also on the 2nd, they're adding even more 30 for 30 documentaries from ESPN. There's currently a bunch on Netflix, but you're going to get some new ones, including one about the XFL.
I'm passionate about my football.
Now, I just turned 40 at the beginning of November, and something that happens to men when they turn 40, they become suddenly more interested in Winston Churchill. It just sort of happens. On the 4th, they're adding Churchill at War. Netflix has done a great job with the World War II documentaries. You know, with cable fading away and the History Channel just sort of disappearing, it's great that they're adding stuff like this. Also on the 4th, though, they're adding something for the family titled The Star. This is a Christmas movie about the Nativity that is several years old. It's almost 10 years old now, but should be a good Christmas watch for the family. There's actually another sort of faith-based movie about Mary coming out later in the month. It actually stars Anthony Hopkins. The author of Love Actually and Notting Hill actually has a Christmas special coming out on Netflix. It's going to be a collection of shorts that are animated. It all looks family friendly. It does look like some of the themes are maybe a little bit more grown up, you know, compared to other animated Christmas specials, but it should be heartwarming, family friendly stuff. Keira Knightley is starring in a new spy series titled Black Doves that actually looks pretty awesome. It doesn't look like it's the same old thing I've seen a bunch of times. It actually looks like it leans a lot heavier on a bunch of twists and turns. Ben Whishaw co-stars in this. He's always great, and this honestly looks like an exceptional espionage series. And Megan Fox is a sex robot in a new movie titled Subservience. But the guy who played Massimo in 365 Days is the dad in this movie. He's definitely having sex with this Megan Fox robot. She does a slew of really kind of terrible movies, but every now and then she's got one that's actually pretty interesting. I give this one a 30% shot. If neither one of those work out for you on the 5th, though, there's a very interesting little indie movie titled Compliance that's actually based on a true story that's quite disturbing, and the movie nails it. But the true story here, a guy prank called a fast food restaurant pretending to be law enforcement and convinced management to do some really awful things to some of the people working there. It's actually a really horrifying story, but the movie is really well done. And Ann Dowd plays the manager, and her performance is what makes it work. If you like dramatic indie films, this is an intense one.
I'll do everything, that you need.
Now, before we cover everything else Netflix is adding in the month of December, I do want to tell you about how today's sponsor is going to help some of you get the most amazing sleep of your life with Oslo Sleep. Now, believe it or not, Oslo is actually a very unique set of earbuds. You just slide them open before you go to sleep at night. They feature these super squishy little wing tips that feel real comfortable in your ear, and you'll notice it's flush with my ear. So side sleeping is not going to be a problem in these. In fact, it's quite comfortable. But these come loaded with science-backed sleep sounds that are designed to help drown out snoring, city noise, loud neighbors. If you've got any of those problems, then these create like a cone of silence to help you sleep. And what's been so great about these, you don't have to mess with your phone. Yes, you can change the settings on your phone, but at bedtime, you literally just slide this open, pop them in, the noise begins playing immediately, and the earbuds last for up to 10 hours, so you can listen to them all night. You can program them to go off after you fall asleep. You can even program them to have an alarm to wake you up gently without disturbing your partner. It's just a really unique gadget that can make a great gift for yourself or maybe the person you share a bed with this year. For a limited time, my viewers are going to save $10 off their Oslo earbuds when they follow the link in the description or this QR code. Don't forget to use my code FLICK to get that discount, but you've got some of the best sleep of your life right here in the palm of your hand. Again, save $10, just use my code FLICK at checkout when you follow this link or this QR code. But speaking of stuff I enjoy, let's get back to this Netflix list. Then on December 6th, they're adding Mary. It actually looks like it features pretty epic cinematography. Like I said, Anthony Hopkins stars in this, and it comes from a director with a decent pedigree, so this one could be a pretty good movie about Mary. And then also on the 6th, on the opposite end of the spectrum, they're adding The Biggest Heist Ever. This is a brand new crime documentary about people who would go on to be named the Bitcoin Bonnie and Clyde. And this is from one of the guys that worked on Tiger King, Jim and Andy, the other Netflix documentary, and American Movie, one of my favorite documentaries of all time, so this one's got my interest. Now keep in mind, we're only on the 7th, and I've still got a ton of recommendations coming. On the 7th, though, they're adding one that I've recommended for the last couple of years, titled Shiva Baby.
Just try to behave yourself today.
I'm not gonna blow him in the bathroom.
We are at a Shiva.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna do it.
Now this is the breakout role from Rachel Sennett. She is quickly becoming like a huge star. You see her in all sorts of stuff now. But this movie came out in 2020 and got largely ignored because a lot of movies did in 2020. Yet in this movie she plays a girl who has a sugar daddy. That's kind of how the movie opens up, but the entire movie, almost the entire movie, takes place at a Shiva, and while she's there with all of her extended friends and family, things begin to come to light, and it doesn't go well. I will say, this will appeal to fans of Curb Your Enthusiasm. It doesn't have exactly the same tone, it's not quite a knee slapper, but it still has a very similar, like, Jewish sense of humor, situational, everyone starts yelling at each other. I'm telling you again, Curb Your Enthusiasm fans, mark your calendar, you're gonna love this movie.
Mom, who died?
And then on the 9th, they're adding one of the bigger releases for the month, something I have not seen. It Ends With Us, the new movie starring Blake Lively. This was kind of a big hit in theaters just a couple of months ago, and it's already hitting Netflix. And whether you saw it or you're excited to see it, if you're into that movie, there's a good chance you're also going to be into The Great British Baking Show, holiday. I know my wife just loves the Great British Baking Show. And if you're in England and you're confused as to why I'm calling it that, apparently you're not allowed to call things Bake Off here in the US. Someone owns it, so they actually changed the name. I shouldn't. We'll move on. On the 10th, Jamie Foxx has a brand new stand-up comedy special titled What Had Happened Was. Now, don't get too excited for this unless you're just a big fan of his. The only reason I say that, the guy is very funny. I'm looking forward to it, but he's probably not gone out and done a lot of work with this material. He's so famous, it's difficult for somebody like Jamie Foxx to just go out to comedy clubs and work this material out, which is kind of necessary for honing in like a great comedy special. And if you didn't know, Jamie Foxx actually got the feds involved with the P. Diddy situation. I mean, he's not responsible necessarily for him going down, but he played a role, and that might play into this special. I'm really only gleaming that based on the title. We'll have to wait and see. And then also on the 10th, I'm super excited for this. It's titled Rugged Rugby. It's a Korean competition show. If you got into the Korean competition show Physical 100 like I did, it's one of my favorite competition shows I've ever seen, like Netflix, cable TV, all of it. I love Physical 100, and I'm interested in rugby. I don't know that much about it, but Rugged Rugby looks like it's right up my alley. And then on the 11th, Angelina Jolie makes kind of a bizarre return to movies. She has been absent for quite a while, and she's coming back with one titled Maria, where she's actually playing a famous opera singer who lives out kind of the end of her life in Paris. Does not sound like it's up my alley at all, but with it being Angelina Jolie's return, like the thing she decided to come back to movies with, it's at least got my interest there. But something that's I'm just gonna have to see is Kings of Tupelo.
I had a peaceful, nice life. But one person hated me and made my life a living hell. James Everett Dusky, a karate instructor in Tupelo, Mississippi.
If you didn't know, I'm actually from Mississippi. I went to Mississippi State, which is about maybe less than an hour south of Tupelo, so I know this area quite well. And apparently this limited docuseries involves a small town feud, an internet conspiracy, an Elvis impersonator, black market organs, and a presidential assassination attempt. They sort of crammed all of it into one caper. Again, I'm gonna have to see it. And yes, if you're wondering, St. Nicholas t-shirts are back in stock. They've been gone for quite a while. If you wanted one, they're back just in time for the holiday season. I've got a bunch of other designs over there as well. The shirts are stupid soft, but they are a fitted design, so if you like your shirts to be a little loose or a little bit bigger, definitely consider going a size up. But these make great gifts for yourself or for the movie lover in your life. Go check them out. It's a great way to support the show and get, again, a super soft t-shirt that you can only get in one place.
Good morning, house hunties.
Wow. Look at Margot. She looks like an AI-generated bitch.
But do you like Margot? Because I can't tell.
On the 12th, they're adding a new series titled No Good Deed that has a huge cast and looks interesting and funny. This is actually from the same creators as Dead to Me. Ray Romano and Lisa Kudrow are trying to sell a house that has some sort of secret, and again, just looks like interesting, fun stuff. Got an incredible cast. Dennis Leary, of all people, has a role in this as well, so this one's got my interest as well. And again, it is just a stacked month. On the 13th, they're adding kind of their biggest budget movie release of the month. It's titled Carry On.
Ethan, today is a day that you're going to remember for a very long time, but if you handle it right, you're going to have a chance to forget it. Just relax, okay?
Taron Egerton stars in this as a TSA agent who finds out that somebody is trying to get on a plane where they shouldn't be, and he has to try to stop them. It sounds like kind of an old school Hitchcock-style thriller, and again, with them putting a lot of weight behind it, this is kind of their big theatrical release for the month. And not to mention, Jason Bateman playing a bad guy, I'm definitely into it.
Sit right back down. You leave that post, there's going to be consequences.
We gotta go. I don't care what you do to me.
Who said anything about you? You got 10 minutes before everybody in this airport dies.
But I recommend a lot of weird movies here on the channel, and for my fellow weird movie enthusiasts, they're adding a bizarre one with Bill Murray titled The Dead Don't Die. This is actually from director Jim Jarmusch, who I love, but this is one of my least favorite movies of his. It is a zombie movie. It stars Bill Murray and Adam Driver, and it's really quirky. But if you were to turn this on because you want a zombie movie, you're going to be sorely disappointed. If you turn it on because you want a weird Jim Jarmusch flick, you might be pleasantly surprised. And if you don't know who Jim Jarmusch is, I would recommend you don't make The Dead Don't Die your first movie of his. On the 17th, they're adding a documentary about Aaron Rodgers. It's titled Enigma. Now, obviously, they're going to be covering his football career, but based on that title, it sounds like they're going to be covering a lot of his personal life as well, which, if you didn't know, is pretty interesting. Believe it or not, on the 20th, Tyler Perry has directed a World War II drama. This new movie is titled The 6888, and it's about a group of nearly 1,000 women that actually helped deliver mail during World War II. There was a huge backlog of mail, and these women actually jumped in and helped catch things up, ultimately delivering tens of millions of pieces of mail ahead of time. On Christmas Eve, though, Nate Bargatze has a brand new comedy special. Not only has he had like a really just fast rise over the last couple of years, I know he's been at it for a long time, but his rise to like super fame was super fast. And I think it's because he's super clean with his comedy, and it's really clever and funny. He's fantastic. If you've not seen any of his specials, go check one out now and get ready for the 24th, because it should be a great one to watch. Maybe with the family, I don't know. My kids, they don't quite get stand-up comedy yet. It doesn't make sense to them. Maybe in another couple of years, but I will be watching Nate's new special maybe on Christmas Eve or shortly after. And then there's a huge surprise for football fans. On Christmas Day, you're getting 2 NFL games. Chiefs versus Steelers at 12 o'clock Eastern, and then Ravens versus Texans at 3:30. It should be incredible to see live NFL games on Netflix. I'm excited to see what the broadcast is like, and if they can kind of pull something like this off and maybe make up for the debacle that was the Tyson-Paul fight.
I'm passionate about my football.
And then on the 26th, right after Christmas, Netflix gifts us Squid Game Season 2. Now, I will say, I think that this show deserved every bit of the hype that it got. While the entire idea isn't wholly original, all of the little ideas in it I think were brilliant, and it's just a very well-crafted show that has a uniquely broad appeal. This is a show I definitely would have gotten into myself, but I'm a little bit surprised as to how much other people have kind of taken to it. Hopefully it's not a rushed thing that rehashes the first season. I'm crossing my fingers here and hoping it's every bit as original as that first season. And then on the 30th, Mad Max Fury Road comes to Netflix. I think for the first time, at least here in the US, it's one of my all-time favorite action movies. Certainly my favorite action movie to come out in the last decade. Which is a stretch. The movie's almost 10 years old already, but it doesn't feel like it. It's so fast-paced and fun, and in terms of the way the action is crafted and edited together, it really does not get much better than Mad Max Fury Road. But here is everything that Netflix is taking away from us here at the end of the year. If you need more time, pause the screen. But what I do here is I list the date that it's gone, which means you can't watch it on that date. You need to watch it prior. But I've also put some in bold that I've recommended strongly on recent videos. But that is the list. Hopefully you find some great stuff to watch this month. Don't forget to go check out that Oslo Sleep link down in the video description to get that $10 off. But I will keep making these videos as long as y'all keep watching them. Thanks for checking out this special Netflix list, and you will see me on the next one.